My name is Ahmmad Hassan. This is Unit 13, Assignment 1, Leadership in Sport. I'll be talking about characteristics first, and I'm doing discreet, patient, approachable, and consistent. A leader should always be discreet with the information that they give them from players. So this gains trust from the players, and yet makes them approachable, which links into another characteristics. It includes information such as personal problems, injuries, or illnesses that the players don't want other people to know, and overall the type of information that the players would want the leader to keep confidential from other people. So, for example, when the leaders are speaking to people at the press, they shouldn't reveal information that the players wouldn't want, so they're more comfortable. An example would be if a player has to leave in an emergency for a family emergency or something like that, the leader should always keep that discreet and not let anyone else know, so the player feels more comfortable around them. Patience is another characteristic, and this is really important because it means that the leader doesn't want to rush things, and they're more precise with performance and consistency. And it gives the players time to alter how they play. So, for example, if they're trying to improve on something specific in the sport, it gives them time to learn about it and improve. It also means that they're more relaxed and they don't have to rush things, which could lead to mistakes. Patience also means that the leader isn't angry, so they're more approachable and calm, and this leads to them being trustworthy, so the players feel more comfortable. Calm is the same thing. An example of patience is Ahmmad, who got defeated several times in his boxing, but instead of acting up, he remained calm and practiced new techniques in order to win his next match, and he proved that he was still in the game because he did exactly that. He learned new techniques, and in the next matches he won. A good leader should also be approachable. They should not be intimidating or a bad conduct to the players, because this not only makes the leader not trustworthy, it basically takes the motivation away from the players. So being an approachable leader makes the players talk to them about personal issues with ease, so they wouldn't feel scared or intimidated, like I said. And being friendly and respectful is something that a leader should always be, because, again, it just makes the players more comfortable around them, and whenever they've got an issue or something that needs to be sorted out, they would feel comfortable speaking to the leader. This also affects their performance as well, because if they know that they're comfortable with the manager, they would want to make him proud by performing at their best. Like I said, it makes being an approachable leader makes the players more comfortable, and it gives them motivation in order to perform better in every match, for example in football. Consistent is another one, and having the same approach and not changing is good, because it shows that you're not basically the effort's not going down from the players, like they're hitting the best they can every time. However, it does mean that they're not improving. Although they're staying consistent, they're not moving. An example of this is Arsenal, when they keep coming fourth or third. This shows consistency, which is good, but a downside of this is that they're not improving. So instead of coming second or first, they're coming fourth consistently. This means the behaviour doesn't change, which is good, because it shows that they're still working hard. 4 qualities that I'm doing is are knowledge of rules and laws, understanding physical needs, mental needs, and knowledge of sport skills. Knowledge of rules and laws include basically being a role model for that sport, so the players can look up to that person, and this gives them motivation, and they'll basically imitate that person so they can be performing as good as them. They set an example to the players, and by being a role model, showing them that they know what they're doing, and also being strict, but not too strict, but being strict on the players so that they're not doing anything outside in their free time that could lead to underperformance during the sport, such as going to parties and being drunk all the time out in their free time. Players get a better understanding from if the leader's got a good knowledge of rules and laws, the players get a better understanding, and yet they're learning as well. So it means that for example, in a football game, if they know the rules and laws, they'll know what to do and not to do, so they perform well. Understanding physical needs of players. Basically, the leader should know the different abilities of players, because they're not all going to be the same. So he should know how things such as what motivates them, what kind of techniques he needs to use or she needs to use in order for that person to improve. Because, yeah, like I said, everyone has different ways of learning, and their abilities are also different. So a way that could be shown is by delivering different activities, but whilst it shows the same aims. This means that it adapts all the players into that activity, and it all basically makes them all participate and develop in their own way, whilst making sure everyone's doing the same thing. So basically help adapting all the players so they can participate no matter what their disability is. An example of this is wheelchair basketball, because people who use wheelchairs, even though they're in a wheelchair, they can still play basketball compared to a normal game, which is players who don't. Understanding mental needs of players. Knowing the needs of players and what motivates them is a crucial part, because without this, the players won't be performing at the best during a match in the sport. So understanding the needs and what motivates them means that the leader can do what they need to do in order to get that player to be performing at their best. And this, for example, in a football match, this brings out the best results that they can get out of the match. A way to motivate the players is by knowing what each individual wants to get out of participation. So for some people it might be the money, or for some it might be something else. But if the leader knows that, then they can use that to motivate the players so they perform at a good standard. Knowledge of sports skills. Leaders should basically know the skills required in the sport, as well as the ability for them to demonstrate it. They should obviously have more knowledge than the players, so that person can teach the players their own way, and that helps them improve their ability in the sport. As well as this, furthermore, the leader should lead on to developing the players from their basic skills onto advanced. So instead of just having a player participating in the sport, they should using their sports skills, the knowledge of their sports skills, they should get that player from where they are and make them better, so they're performing better and they develop skills. 4 roles that I'm doing now is organizer, role model, guardian and motivator. A leader should always be organized when hosting training sessions or anything like team meetings, things like that, because being prepared just shows that you're keen to get the best result out of them, and this also motivates the players. So, because knowing that the manager wants to get things done precisely and being prepared for it just makes them trust that leader as well. Training sessions obviously should be planned with equipment, and the plan should be ready beforehand. So this means that they can use all the time that they've got. They can use the time all they got instead of wasting time at the beginning, getting everything ready. So as soon as everyone's there, they can get on with the training, so they can get the most out of it. And obviously there should always be a plan B, because as mentioned before, if in case the weather's not good enough to playing, there could be a plan B where they, for example, they could go inside and use the equipment inside the facilities to use instead of being outside. An example of this is Roy Hodgson, because he knew what the players know what he wants to do. The players in England know that Roy Hodgson wants to do well in the World Cup, so they know that he's always got a plan B in case things go wrong. So yeah, he always has a backup plan to ensure that there is nothing that can get in the way of any training sessions or meetings or anything. Role model is another one. An example of a role model is David Beckham, because he started off young, and from where he's got, it's basically people look up to him and they get motivation from him. The leader themselves should be motivation for the players. So another example could be Ryan Giggs, because he's been playing in Manchester United for a long time and managing the team. Because he managed the team at one point, this also shows motivation, because people will be like, oh, I want to get to his step or anything like that. However, it doesn't mean that they have to set a benchmark, so this just motivates them even more. The leader being a role model shows enthusiasm as well as a professional attitude, which means that the players will be more keen to carry out the task and get everything done. And as simple things such as dressing correctly, so for example David Beckham wearing a suit there, it makes him look professional and shows that he's got the right attitude towards all situations. As well as him, another role model is obviously Ronaldo, because everyone looks up to him, as he's known to be the best player. Then the next one I'm doing is Guardian. The leader should care for their players. This is important because it brings in trustworthiness and basically makes the players feel safe around that leader, because when you're looking after the players, you're showing that you respect them, you care about them, and they're just not a person. They mean more than that, and it builds the relationship up. So like for example in a football match, the player can perform better knowing that they've got someone they can trust on the bench. Being a guardian for the players obviously makes the players feel safe and comfortable, and this links into being an approachable leader. As well as keeping the players safe should always be a responsibility for the leader, because it's important, because they shouldn't want anything to happen to the players, because that can affect the sport dramatically. And motivator is the next one I'm doing, and basically, as mentioned before, the leader should know what ticks the players. So, like I said, every player has different things that motivates them, whether it's money or anything else, and using this against the players is good, because you can basically get them to perform at their best, which gets the best result out of the game. It keeps the players interested, because they know that the leader is precise with the information, and they know that the leader knows them and makes them more approachable, obviously, and most of all makes them keen to play, so they're not slacking or anything, and they're performing at the best. For example, like motivation can be when the leader or a football manager giving a speech before and after the game. So at the beginning, telling them to perform at their best and win the match. So in cases where they don't win the match, the speech after the game is still motivational. The manager doesn't give a bad speech saying, "Oh, you didn't perform well." They give a good speech, so it motivates the player for the next time they play the match.